Massive news just dropped for the Subnautica 2 vs. Crafton situation. Everyone is losing their minds. There is so much to cover, honestly. First and foremost, the ex-CEO, the ex-developers, the original people who made Subnautica are officially at least trying to move forward with a lawsuit against Crafton. Keep in mind, currently, this is not actually a lawsuit, and there is a lot of context that I want to talk about this. Second of all, my god, is the community up in arms. We're gonna watch this video, but before watching this video, I haven't watched it yet. I instantaneously went to the comment sections and started reading what people are saying. And it is disgusting. It is some of the dumbest stuff I have seen in my life, okay? For example, this comment right here. If Crafton wins, there will most likely be a boycott of the game. And I'm sure Crafton shareholders are not going to like that. 418 upvotes. This comment is literally the poster child of two brain cells fighting for third fucking place. And the whole Subnautica situation is like this. Okay, let me break down what this comment is and why you should never even think like this person or even come close to this. So, if Crafton wins, that means that everything effectively that the CEOs were saying about the company, by the way, is proved lies, unsubstantiated, and nothing. Okay, and you're saying to me that if it's proven that the CEOs just completely lied about the whole thing. The player base is still going to be so dilutedly stupid that they're going to boycott the game for no reason? Because the lying sacks of shit lied and got caught lying? Because this is what they're saying, okay? And then it's like, I'm sure Crafton shareholders are gonna not like that. Okay, so Crafton shareholders are gonna like Crafton losing a lawsuit and still paying out the money? Like, what? I'm not saying that people should be forced to do an IQ test before interacting online with anything, but this person is making a absolutely insanely good point. And there are, by the way, some people that are pushing back against this, saying, "Are you stupid? If Crafton wins, that means the CEOs lie." And people are like, "Well, it's $1 million company, so what do we care?" It's insane. It's absolutely insane. So we're gonna watch the video, but I have heard some things about this discussion, but I have not heard one thing saying. This is, as far as I know currently, not an actual lawsuit yet. It's like a complaint or something like that, which is one step below, okay? And this whole lawsuit, if it happens, by the way, this is not gonna be, this is not like, oh, we have to win because we're right. No, this is gonna be like Johnny Depp versus Amber Heard 2.0. Johnny Depp suing knew that he is not going to get anything out of winning this lawsuit except clear his name. And this is the exact opposite that the CEOs could be trying to actually pull with this lawsuit. Because they know that Crafton obviously does not want to suffer this fiasco of their reputational damage and all of these things. They might as well are trying to just push all of this forward to intimidate Crafton to say, okay, let's not go through all of this, our reputation is suffering. There is a chance that this is going to be a tool like that. Because, keep in mind also, this is currently just the perspective of one side, aka the ex-CEO's part. Crafton has nothing to do with this. Every single allegation in this from the ex-CEOs could be blatant lies, by the way. There is nothing for stopping you from saying these are kind of like blatant lies or whatever. This is sadly how lawsuits just work, honestly. Until they get to the actual checking evidence in the law part. Okay, so let's start. Let's see how it goes.
So Charlie Cleveland, the original founder of Unknown Worlds and Subnautica, just posted...
So, by the way, as last video, just don't get sentimental, just don't get emotion, because this thing is going to evolve and evolve and evolve. The moment you're going to get emotional, you're going to probably lose the whole plot, okay? I'm just gonna point out a couple of lies, if there are gonna be any, and I'm sure there are gonna be plenty that we already know and can 100% say are lies, because I'm assuming there's gonna be a lot of it here.
His official complaint, thereby starting the lawsuit against Crafton. And boy, this one is juicy, I'll tell you that. Now, this entire document here that has been publicized is over 50 pages long here. It's a lot of text here, so I'm not gonna read this, page by page. I'm gonna skip over some parts because some parts we already know. Case in point, if you don't know anything about the Subnautica 2 situation, I recommend you watch this video right here to get up to speed, then come back and watch this. Because, this is a lot of stuff here. I'm gonna go over the parts that I
And by the way, this video is pretty much like Reddit's opinion on this situation, as far as I can tell. Maybe I'm wrong about that, but, again, from the comments that I read here, there's a lot of company bad, millionaire CEOs good type of shit going on here.
find most interesting, the stuff that we didn't know. But again, this is Charlie's side of the story. This is the founder's side of the story about what happened with Crafton internally. And just so you know, again, these are allegations, but Charlie and the other founders, they're making a pretty strong case with this one. And yeah, we're gonna go over what I think is gonna happen after this at the end of the video. But yeah, let's.
We can't know this. Again, this is just one side. It's not a strong case if you have only heard one side.
Start off and going through the points here that I find the most interesting. So, introduction. 4 years ago, defendant Crafton Inc. purchased.
Oh, and so everyone understands, I have no horse in this. I'm not buying Subnautica 2. I literally could not care about if Crafton shuts down in a day, or does Subnautica 2 shut down in a day. I literally could not care less. I'm just interested in the facts and what's actually right here. I am impartial. I could not care less.
Unknown Worlds Entertainment, a wildly successful independent video game studio. The deal involved a $500 million upfront payment plus an earnout that could reach $250 million, depending on Unknown Worlds' performance through 2025. This case arises from Crafton's death.
Okay, so there is the first thing that's actually. I'm not sure if this is news or people just don't understand these things, but plus an earnout that could reach up to 250 million. This means that the 250 million is not guaranteed. Depending on performance, this number is going to be lower or higher.
Desperate efforts to avoid paying the earnout and its flagrant contractual breaches in pursuit of that goal. So right from the get-go here, we are already seeing the claim made by the founders, that is like Charlie, Cleveland, Max, and Ted, that they're obviously, like Crafton is obviously trying to skip out on paying that big bonus. From the outset, both sides understood that the earnout.
And Crafton, as I mentioned in last video, Crafton obviously does not want to give out this bonus. So it is true that both sides can actually be kind of shit in this situation. And judging from everything that we knew last time that I covered, it does to me look like both sides are just lying shitbags, both of them. But we're going to see how this escalates.
That would largely hinge on the next release in Unknown Worlds' smash hit game franchise, Subnautica, an underwater survival game that became a global sensation, selling over redacted million copies. Key to Subnautica's remarkable success and to the ethos of Unknown World as a company was its release into early access, a model that Unknown Worlds pioneered over the last 2 decades. Early access lets players purchase the game while still in development, providing indispensable feedback as they play and allowing the company to improve the game in real time. Early access has helped Unknown Worlds build an intensely devoted fanbase that operates in symbiosis with the company. It is a relationship founded on mutual trust, openness, and respect. And as someone who played through the original Subnautica back when it was very, very early, it's the entire thing with Subnautica is only possible because of the players helping construct the game and giving feedback. Like, they've obviously, this is very true as a statement, I feel, because they have built this entire company on the whole basis of early access, because it works for Unknown Worlds and for Charlie Cleveland. Now, I'm going to skip over some parts here because essentially Charlie, or this document, goes over things that we already know, like it describes the events that has happened in social circles around the internet. So I'm just going to hop on over to how it all started with the acquisition. So point 47, by 2021, Unknown Worlds sought a partner to help the studio reach even more players worldwide. Teaming up with a company that could provide international marketing and global branding capabilities would enable Unknown Worlds to bring more new games to its growing fan community and do so more quickly. Unknown Worlds had a great offer for any investor or buyer. Behind closed doors, Cleveland and his team had a new game in production, that being Moonbreaker, and team members who had worked on Below Zero were set to.
Moonbreaker is a complete disaster.
lead the charge on the next game in the Subnautica franchise. In October 2021, Krafton Inc., a South Korean video game publisher and holding company, announced that it would acquire Unknown Worlds.
And Krafton, by the way, blatantly said that it's all the big CEO's fault that Moonbreaker was a disaster.
Pursuant to the EPA,
just adding here a little bit,
Unknown Worlds would remain an independent studio, thereby maintaining its autonomy to develop and launch great games. Krafton recognized Unknown Worlds' proven ability to create immersive experiences that resonate with gamers around the world, and it represented publicly and privately that it would not change the soul of the studio. In a press release, Krafton wrote, "Unknown Worlds' structure and leadership will remain in place to retain its unique creative identity." Already here, we're seeing that Krafton essentially promised they would not fiddle around with Unknown Worlds. They would keep everything as is. They would let Charlie and the rest of the team be. He would be able to lead the studio as he saw fit. Krafton CEO Changhan CA.
So, that is theoretically a good point, but the second part, I can already tell you, I have seen actual contracts like this, and I know how they're structured in reality. This contract, that part omits so much details. There is always pretty much way out for the company if the CEOs just decide to be negligent or do whatever the fuck they want, or just not do their job. Okay, there is no situation where a contract like this is ever going to be signed where it's like, oh yeah, the CEOs can just do whatever they want and they're never going to get fired and they're gonna keep on getting paid. Contracts like that do not exist. So this whole section omits the part where Krafton has the rights to let go of these CEOs for X reason. And what is X reason, we do not know.
Kim told Cleveland and Gill that he was particularly excited that...
Oh, and there's probably not one reason, but there's probably multiple reasons why the CEOs can be let go.
Unknown Worlds would bring its expertise in early access launches to Krafton. Kim also commended Unknown Worlds and promised great support. Unknown Worlds are incredibly skilled and passionate developers with an unparalleled gift for creativity and a proven track record of building successful player-driven worlds. Krafton will spare no effort in helping them. Not only do they enhance our development capabilities, but we share a goal of creating unique experiences for global audiences. In creating these unique experiences, Kim wanted Cleveland to develop Subnautica's franchise IP with cross-media expansion beyond the game into television or movies. In addition to Moonbreaker, the franchise IP effort would become Cleveland's focus. So Cleveland, Charlie that is, was supposed to expand Subnautica into more stuff, like franchises across media. Like this was supposed to be a bigger thing, and who knows, maybe it still can be. So it's supposed to be like television, movies, stuff like that. So that was supposedly the agreement between him and Kim, the CEO.
I don't know the details on this, but if he's not doing that, that's probably already grounds for, from Krafton's part, to be actually allowed to terminate him. Okay? If he is not pursuing these goals that were supposed to be goals
of Krafton, it would seem. Krafton's promises are memorialized in the Equity Purchase Agreement, the EPA that is. Plaintiff Fortis Advisors was the shareholder representative for Unknown Worlds' former owners. In addition to the $500 million upfront purchase price, a key component of the EPA is the Earnout provision, under which the sellers, the founders, and other Unknown Worlds employees alike were eligible for an Earnout bonus of up to $250 million based on Unknown Worlds revenue through December 31, 2025, with the option to extend the Earnout period through June 2026. Then we see about...
Okay, so this is a wild one, okay? This is what I really did not like about the ex-CEOs previously. Because previously they said this about this 250 million payout. They don't want to pay the developers. Well, the developers, turns out, are getting only potentially 10% of that Earnout, which is not a lot. And when that came out, the ex-CEO said, well, we always share with our gains with our employees, which again, I could not find truth to those words in any way on the internet. Google found nothing about Subnautica's devs being such good socialists and sharing their gains with the actual developers or whatnot in a selfless way, okay? As, they are trying to imply here. Found nothing of that sort. And now here it's like, oh, what do you mean? What do you mean your earnings? Weren't you gonna like selfishly give your earnings and share the lion's share with the other devs? I mean, why aren't we seeing any talk about this?
Then we see a bunch of redacted stuff here. The earnout formula considers the something something EPA. The earnout amount is calculated by with a cap of $250 million EPA. The founders owned approximately this many of the shares of Unknown Worlds at the acquisition.
We know that it's 90%.
But in recognition of their team members' great work, the EPA is structured to
Oh,
provide an outsized earnout to Unknown Worlds.
Oh, yes. This is 90%. We know
It
this.
set aside fully 10% of the earnout amount to be distributed across the team. So the $25 million would go to everybody else on the team. Beyond this guarantee, the founders plan to share.
Yes, and now Crafton has said, "Hey, we can pay out those 25 guaranteed million to the devs. Keep in mind, 25 million is maximum payout to the devs. If they don't hit the maximum goal, they're gonna get less. So." If the Crafton CEOs are actually such pillars of the community, they would take this deal because that would just guarantee that their devs get the maximum payout. But they're not taking it. Happens, I guess.
Even more of the earnout with their dedicated team. So Charlie and the rest, they were supposed to split even more money from the payout to the rest of the team again, which sounds really generous in my opinion. To support the team's opportunity to gain the earnout, the founders wanted to be sure they retained control of their revenue streams. It could not be.
Okay, let's go over this part again a little bit.
On the team. Beyond this guarantee, the founders plan to share even more of the earnout with their dedicated team. So Charlie and the rest.
Yes. So this sounds like pure bullshit. There is absolutely no. If you want to share more of your earnings with your team, you can do that without the hustle of needing to redistribute the wealth on your own accord and stuff. You just instantaneously give the developers a higher percent from your earnings. Okay, you reduce your 30% of the payout and give the developers that much. That's what you do. There is absolutely no problems in just making that the contract. But they didn't. So this seems extremely sus in my opinion. There is no reason to do it like this.
They were supposed to split even more money from the payout to the rest of the team again, which sounds really generous in my opinion. To support the team's opportunity to gain the earnout, the founders wanted to be sure they retained control of their revenue streams that could not be terminated arbitrarily.
Pure bullshit.
So they wanted to make sure, obviously, that this was going to happen.
Again, Crafton would sign a deal like that, okay? Like, they're paying $500 million for the company acquisition, and there's potentially $250 million in bonuses. Like, it's still $250 million, 90% split to the CEOs, or $250 million, 50% split to the three CEOs. It doesn't make a difference for Crafton. There was never a reason to make a contract like this in the first place. Crafton would literally not care about how you split the money as long as the sum doesn't change.
That they were going to get their earnout and the rest of the team would get a bonus. In the EPA, Crafton agreed that the founders would maintain operational control of the group companies in all material aspects, including for both existing and new products, product roadmap, launch, planning, partnering, budgeting, and employee matters, so long as at least one of the three of them was still employed. The EPA was consistent with the founders' employment agreements, which similarly reflects that they would, a bunch of redacted stuff, Cleveland, McGuire, and Crafton also promised that, notwithstanding anything to the contrary in the agreement, it could not terminate any employee of Unknown Worlds during the earnout window, including the founders, without the prior written consent of a majority of the founders. So essentially, 2 of the 3 founders would have to agree to terminate one of the other founders, or that they would be, taking a step back from production. That was essentially the agreement, that Crafton can't just fire them because that was the contractual, agreement, that they can't just do this. They have to have a majority in voting from the founders, which were 3 of them, right? So this is already like a major chink in Crafton's armor. The sole exception to that prohibition allows Crafton to terminate employees for cause. A high bar requiring commission of a felony, an intentional act of fraud or dishonesty, intentional wrongful disclosure of trade secrets, or a willful act or omission by such individual that constitutes gross misconduct and that is injurious to Unknown Worlds, where willful means committed without good faith and without the reasonable belief that the act or omission was in Unknown Worlds' best interest. That sounds kind of...
Okay, so this is pretty neat. So They are disclosing Krafton's capability to fire anyone from Unknown Worlds, and this probably also implies, obviously, to the 3 CEOs. But the 3 CEOs, again, I don't see a world where the 3 CEOs do not have a specific designated clause of when they can be fired, because their jobs are technically more important than the other average jobs. And that's what Krafton cares about. So they disclose how anyone can be fired from the people who should be alleged for the bonus, but not themselves. That is interesting.
Without good faith and without a reasonable belief that the act or omission was in Unknown World's best interest. That sounds kind of what Krafton has been trying to spin it as, that this is for the well-being of Unknown Worlds, because Charlie and the others, they haven't committed a crime, they haven't had like intentional acts of fraud or dishonesty, disclosure of trade secrets, nothing like that. All it's essentially what Krafton has been trying to spin it at is Charlie and Max and Ted have been like gross negligent of the production of Subnautica 2. Anyway, Krafton further agreed not to take any actions.
Wait, with gross negligence, by the way, not gross. Gross negligence is just really, really, really negligent. Okay, that gross negligence is like, oh, someone just emailed me, send $500 to their bank account, and you're like you're working in a company, and you're like, okay, gonna give them $500 in company funds. That is gross negligence. Completely not checking anything or whatever. And I wonder, does this actually still refer to them if we take it that the CEO. And by the way, I found a comment here on this. I don't know if I can see it, but I personally did not find it. I have not heard about it, but oh, here it is. You know that that the founders were barely involved in Subnautica 2's development. This was confirmed by an actual dev. I don't know how true this is, but we already heard previously that one of the CEOs was literally more interested in making an AI Christmas movie than making Subnautica 2. So this could actually fall under gross negligence.
The primary business purpose of which is to deprive sellers earnout payments and to consult in good faith with the management of Unknown Worlds, prior to taking any action that would reasonably be expected to materially decrease the earnout amount. We're gonna get to this in a moment, because this one, again, like, this is huge, largely because of Krafton's promises to leave creative and commercial control over Unknown Worlds.
No, wait, was it gross negligence or gross negligence? I can't fucking remember. That's a rare word. Let's check. Gross negligence. Okay. Pronouns. Come on. Here we found something.
Gross negligence.
Yeah, it's gross negligence, not gross. Okay, for a moment there, I thought I'm actually losing my mind.
In their hands, the founders were excited to work with Krafton. We're truly looking forward to our future together, Cleveland said in a press release. Under Krafton's umbrella, Unknown Worlds continued the great work it had been doing when it was fully independent. As before the acquisition, Cleveland was largely focused on running the Moonbreaker team, while others at Unknown Worlds worked on new game concepts and continued working toward Subnautica 2. Cleveland also got to work on the Subnautica film Krafton's CEO had encouraged him to pursue. So already Charlie was starting to work on the Subnautica film that we're supposed to be getting. And again, key point here.
Okay, again, you need to remember, this is all just from their side. Could have started working, literally can be like an email 2 months ago saying, hey, remember that movie we're supposed to do? You should start doing that. And he's like, okay, but he doesn't actually do anything tangible. That's also started working on these things.
As apparently Krafton's CEO pushed Charlie to pursue that film. Very important information. Unknown Worlds' first release post-acquisition was Moonbreaker, a turn-based strategy video game set in an expansive science fiction universe. Unknown Worlds worked on Moonbreaker for 5 years before the early access release in September 2022, holding the game for internal development and improvement far past the point it had released earlier games. Although the company achieved financial success in this time period, largely due to the continued strength of the Subnautica franchise, Moonbreaker did not sell as well as the team hoped. For Unknown Worlds, the lesson was crystal clear. Early access releases are core to its DNA, and community feedback during game development is essential for its development to build games games that fans love. And again, yes, Moonbreaker, obviously it was not released in early access as far as I know, so there we go. Like another key point, Unknown Worlds should essentially release games in early access because they need player feedback to build their games to make really great games. Follow extensive communications with Krafton about how developed Subnautica 2 needed to be for early access. Unknown Worlds pushed the planned early access release date back to the fourth quarter of 2024 and then to the first half of 2025. The fan community's excitement for the game increased when in November of 2023, Krafton revealed in a financial report that the Subnautica sequel would be released on that timeline. With additional review of the game within Unknown Worlds and additional feedback from and conversations with Krafton, Unknown Worlds pushed the release date one last time to, now we don't know what month this is, but in 2025. Unknown Worlds saw this as a sweet spot for the release timing, late enough to allow its developers to get the game ready and early enough for the fan community to join the effort and help the developers iterate. Krafton agreed. Conversations with Krafton also led the founders to clarify their responsibilities in 2024 by changing their titles within Unknown Worlds. And this is all the talk surrounding like how Charlie took up another title, and we've heard this talk publicly on the internet here, and it seems like they're trying to clarify what was going on here. As the company was growing rapidly and working on several major projects at a time, it was natural for the founders to take on a more supervisory role across the company, as opposed to remaining pigeonholed on a specific game or project, because Krafton wanted them to go back to specific roles instead of like having like an umbrella view of the entire company and what they should do. The founders discussed the plan with Krafton executives, who later confirmed to Gil that Krafton's CEO fully supported the plan. So, Cleveland's title changed from CEO and design director to franchise creative director, removing administrative tasks Krafton required of a CEO and allowing him to focus on Subnautica's cross-media expansion and, in particular, on the Subnautica film. Cleveland moved to Los Angeles to network with Hollywood creatives in support of the film. Now, this is very interesting because the whole...
Oh, so there is something to it. Okay. All of this also is very currently one-sided and very fucking sus, okay? Collabed with Hollywood people? Bro, that's just doing a little bit of cocaine off of, you know, a person of questionable age. That might as well be the same thing, honestly, here.
Conversation around a film has been about Charlie's like an upcoming Christmas film that Charlie has been working on, but it sounds to me here like it was actually supposed to be like a Subnautica film that he was working on. So I wonder what the situation is really there. Like, what is the full picture? We're gonna get to that at some point, not here, but this is very interesting. McGuire's title changed from technical director to special projects director so that he, Unknown World's most talented engineer, could focus on research and development within the studio rather than on managing people. Sounds like it makes sense. Finally, Gil's title changed from president to CEO, a role that allowed him to free Cleveland from Krafton mandated administrative tasks and was consistent with the leadership role he had taken.
So I heard that this is all some kind of Krafton's evil scheme to fire them. I'm not sure about this completely. I'm not sure if even that's real. I'm just saying that people are also talking about this, and I currently have no idea.
On in his year since joining the company. Multiple Krafton executives congratulated Gil on assuming his new role. Krafton updated the founders' roles in Workday, its HR system, by August 12, 2024, and on official organizational charts thereafter. Krafton also updated Cleveland's title on its public-facing website, where it highlighted certain employees. And here we see, you know, some of the key people on Krafton, and on the right side here we see Charlie Cleveland, the CEO of Unknown Worlds, and yeah, it seems like they were very happy with them, apparently. Given its centrality to the company's success, the founders, of course, maintained an active role for Subnautica.
I'm not sure what would what makes that seem very happy, to be completely honest. Absolutely nothing from my experience would indicate that that's happiness. That's just a random thing to say, not gonna lie. That's really random.
2, driving its overall creative and commercial direction and supervising the day-to-day leads. But the role clarifications allowed them to widen their scope and push for the kind of broad franchise IP success that Krafton wanted.
Oh, wait. So they're talking about this, but previous, was it them complaining that they got removed from the CEO position, or was it the community who started saying, oh, Krafton removed them from the CEO position, and, you know, put some kind of puppet in there, okay? So, is this gonna play a role here, or what's gonna happen? Because people were really mad about that.
Again, it seems, according to Charlie and the others, like this was what Krafton had asked of them to, like, try to cross-pollinate to other media with Subnautica as a franchise. With the role clarifications complete, Unknown Worlds pushed ahead and unveiled the next steps for Subnautica's franchise. It released the Subnautica 2 teaser trailer in October of 2024 on YouTube, where it has hundreds of thousands of subscribers. The fan community expressed great enthusiasm in the comments.
I mean, yeah, and Assassin's Creed Shadows fans are also delighted about the state of the game. Dragon Age Railgod fans were also delighted with the state of the game. Listen, saying a sentence like, oh, the community loved it, has absolutely no fucking weight nowadays. Everyone lies about this.
months. And we see a bunch of, very excited people here after this. Of course, like, it was a big day for all the Subnautica fans. But now we get to the point where things start going downhill. Now, this is the one that really matters in all
Let's
this.
go.
As momentum for Subnautica 2 was building, the reality of what this would mean for Earnout hit Crafton. When that happened, everything changed. In early 2025, given the upcoming release of Subnautica...
Everything changed when everything changed when Subnautica Below Zero was added and was woke. Man, people are really fucking pissed about the DLC and updates and whatnot from Subnautica, that it's pretty shitty. Like, Below Zero was a disaster in everyone's opinion.
2, Gil was negotiating incentive bonuses for the many employees who were not guaranteed to receive earnout pay because they joined Unknown Worlds after Crafton's acquisition. Sounds like a really good move, a good guy move there, right? In the course of those conversations, Gil provided Crafton executives a set of realistic financial projections incorporating Subnautica 2's release. Under one projection, the founders and other Unknown Worlds employees would earn something, and...
Okay, you know what's actually the thing that I'm most interested in? And this is pretty... And if we get confirmation on this, that's pretty much going to decide, am I on the side of the original founders or on Crafton's? And that is, if you would remember, last time we talked about what the Subnautica 2 team wanted to release the game in early access versus what Crafton wanted to get. If we get more information there, that's going to decide on which side I am actually here. Because again, I'm not on any side yet. Both sides look kind of fucking lying freaks currently. Never trust the company because the company is interested in personal gain. Never trust a bunch of people who sold their company to a multi-million-dollar company because they wanted money. Again, no one's trustworthy in my opinion. But who is more trustworthy, or who should actually get your vote? I think that can be distinguished from clarity on the situation of the early access. Like, at what point Crafton said, okay, this is what we want already in the early access game when you're going to release it, and how much time did they actually have to develop it? 1 to 3 biomes, 50% more aquatic life and things like that. Because from what we saw what Crafton wanted in the early access, it's like not even 50% what they said that they want to release in early access. And depending on the timeline here, I think that's going to be the easiest way to figure out who's the lying sack of shit.
Under the other, they would make something. That is, the bonus that was set aside, plus additional bonuses from the founders themselves, apparently, it would seem. In subsequent conversations, Gil confirmed that these revenue projections were conservative and that the actual revenue would likely be higher. Not only were the scenarios missing significant revenue streams, specifically mobile and Nintendo 2 Switch sales, they also likely underestimated continued sales of Subnautica and Subnautica Below Zero. Those games would have had a bump in sales when Subnautica 2 launched. Absolutely. Perhaps more importantly, the projections considered only what the earnout would be if the window ended in 2025, but the EPA...
Bump in sales, yes, but that bump in sales would be like, this big. It's still a bump, but it's not really anything you want to talk about.
It permits the window to be extended through June 2026. With nearly a full year of Subnautica 2 revenue included, it is highly likely that the founders and other Unknown Worlds employees would make something. That was the turning point in Unknown Worlds' relationship with Crafton. After Crafton leaders reviewed Gil's projections and evaluated the anticipated revenue and earnout numbers, everything changed. During the first week of April 2025, Unknown Worlds...
That's really easy to say, by the way.
Publishing colleagues in Crafton's El Segundo, California office traveled to Korea to finalize the marketing and advertising strategy for Subnautica 2's launch. Upon their return, the El Segundo team, Crafton employees, reported to Gil that Crafton's leadership was not focused on a successful launch, but instead on how it could convince Unknown Worlds to delay the game. Already, this is where it started. They went to, finalize all of the marketing and stuff with Crafton, and they came back and they were like, yeah, so the leaders up there, they want to delay the game. If everything before that, wasn't a red flag, this is a massive red flag. The El Segundo colleagues informed...
Wait, what was actually a massive red flag here? This is bad for them, but what was previously a massive red flag here?
Gil, that Crafton's legal team was combing through the agreements looking for any opening to terminate the founders if they proceeded with the planned monthly release. The El Segundo colleagues told Gil that it was clear that Crafton was aiming to avoid paying the earnout. Good of the El Segundo teams to actually let Charlie know about this. Again, this is his claim, but...
This, by the way, I'm not going to say anything that this is probably how it went down, by the way. Those people probably easily could understand, wait a minute, something's not right here. So, this seems truthful, as far as I can tell. This seems in line with real life.
This is a very strong story so far, so I don't actually doubt this. The founders were shocked. Krafton had promised in the EPA that it would not take any actions with the primary business to propose to the purpose of depriving sellers of the earnout payments, and now it appeared that Krafton was taking steps to delay the launch and even fire the founders for that very purpose. So this was not as sudden as we thought it was. This has been going on for a while, like a couple of months at least. The clash between the game's prospects and Krafton's delay goals crystallized after Gil met with Krafton's chief global publishing officer, Jin Oh. During an April 8th meeting, it appeared Oh had not received the message from Krafton headquarters.
Oh, and by the way, now this actually is big. This actually kind of changes my opinions on a couple of things. So if this all was known for them for months at this point, I'm not talking about weeks. A month would not be a long time, but if this is literally multiple months, then this changes my opinion a lot, actually. And you know why? Because that means that the ex-CEOs, they had plenty of time to, go through the legal channels and whatnot. And now, when it's the hottest, they are trying to just smear Krafton's name by going public with all of this. This is going too fast for not even a real lawsuit, but just the makings of it. This is still kind of fucking fast, which means, currently to me, it looks like this was the plan. This was the plan. Wait, get everything ready, and when it's close to the release, when the damage is going to be the biggest, when the eyes are going to be the widest, we're going to drop all of this. And that is not something that you want to do unless you're going for a gambit play. Typically, that's not a sign of confidence. So, that's kind of not a good thing. This seems premeditated to a large extent, okay?
That Subnautica 2 needed to be delayed. O told Gil that the founders were being too conservative in their sales figures for Subnautica 2 and that they needed to aim bigger. O wanted to put together a business and marketing plan to sell 2 to 3 million copies by December 31, 2025, something redacted. This would have left the sellers poised to easily make their full $250 million payout. O pointed that Krafton's recent early access launch of another game, Inzoi, which sold 1.1 million copies in the first week, despite having significantly less content and being less developed than Subnautica 2, O thought Unknown Worlds should easily double that sales figure with proper publishing support. It's gonna sell like hotcakes, I'm gonna tell you, obviously. But days later...
Yeah, it's gonna sell, yeah. But the fact that it's gonna sell doesn't actually matter here. Krafton... Okay, so here's the part that no one likes to hear. But Krafton has 100% the right saying, you're aiming too little. Let me actually Google this. Let me tell if they're aiming too little. How much copies did Subnautica 1 sell in the first month? Subnautica initial sales figures for the first month after full release are not publicly available. However, the game archives significant sale milestone in the years following its launch. By January 2020, it sold over 5.2 million copies across all platforms. And when was Subnautica 2 released? Subnautica 1, I mean, released. Subnautica 1 release date. Let's just write in SteamDB. SteamDB. Because SteamDB has the release date. So, Subnautica 1 got released in 2018. Okay, so every year, it's selling roughly, like, let's say, 1.5 million copies. And these guys are saying that the estimates are gonna be that they are gonna sell how many copies? 2 to 3 million. Jeez. That's not looking bigger. I mean, boys, I don't want to be that guy, but I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, Krafton has all the rights to be pretty pissed about this. This is not counting inflation. This is not counting fucking anything. And you're telling me with all of the money that Krafton poured into this, you're gonna now release and at best sell equally to your previous launch? Now, this is not how companies work. Maybe the CEOs did not know that saying this is like a fucking super red flag to Krafton. Because saying, oh, our initial releases are planned to be literally the same as last year? Oh, that is not good. That is not exactly good. Admittedly, it is more than 1 month. This is not a full year though. But that's not exactly encouraging. Crafton probably wanted to hear that they're gonna sell like 4 million, minimum copies first year of release. Whenever that would have been actually originally planned for 2025. So this is actually a pretty big red flag for Crafton hearing this. If I was in Crafton's position, I would be pretty fucking pissed, I'm not gonna lie. I would be fucking pissed. If they told me, yeah, this is gonna be our sales, I would not be happy. I would be very, very mad.
The sellers poised to easily make their full $250 million payout. O pointed that Krafton's recent early access launch of another game, Inzoi, which sold 1.1 million copies in the first week despite having significantly less content and being less developed than Subnautica 2, O thought Unknown Worlds should easily double that sales figure with proper publishing support. It's
Inzoi, actually, let's see if we can see the Steam DB here. Oop. Unknown Worlds developer, and there is... Whoa, they have a lot of stuff, actually. Subnautica Below Zero. Where is Inzoi? NS2. What the f is that? Oh, they released Natural Selection. I played that game. I kind of liked it. Moonbreakers. I can't find this Inzoi. Interesting. Oh, whatever, I guess. Can't find it, it is what it is.
Gonna sell like hotcakes, I'm gonna tell you, obviously. But days later, the founders received confirmation that Krafton's support had gone cold. On April 11, 2025, Krafton's head of publishing for the Americas reported to Guild that Krafton was looking to delay the game but did not seem to have a valid reason for doing so. From mid-April forward, Krafton began building a news story that Subnautica 2 was not ready and could not be released in this month of 2025. Again, the leak that has been going on from Krafton seems to paint the picture that...
Okay, yes, again, this is gonna be the make or break. If Krafton is justified in saying this, I'm on Krafton's side. If they're not, then the CEOs who are fake communists still get my vote.
A lot of stuff were cut and that they had reason to delay it. This story, well, it makes it pretty certain that Krafton is working overtime to really control the narrative here, but...
Well, again, Krafton knows that they can be sued for this, so... Krafton would not fucking willy-nilly just do this. This is the crazy part. Because typically, no company just goes in the open and blames each other for their problems, okay? The fact that both sides choose to do this is kind of unprecedentedly wild to a degree.
From Charlie's point of view, this entire story so far, it just, it just blows Krafton's side out of the water. Now, we get to this point. Krafton...
Does it? Does it? Am I being too impartial here? Or am I giving Krafton too much... No, you guys are gonna fucking not answer anything on this question, are you?
...racist obstructionist tactics to delay Subnautica 2 and avoid paying the Earnout. At this point, Krafton began a months-long campaign designed to delay Subnautica 2's launch and avoid the Earnout. In late April, Krafton's chief publishing global officer declared that Krafton wanted to assign a new publishing team to Subnautica 2 despite Unknown World's great relationship with Krafton's El Segundo publishing unit. So they seem to be on good terms with El Segundo. They are the ones that warned Charlie and the others of this situation. Unknown World's only requests were for Krafton to assign someone who had experience in shipping early access titles, could work with Unknown World's mostly American and European time zones, and spoke English at least conversationally. Krafton met none of those requests. It assigned a VP of publishing who had extremely limited experience in releasing a PC game, had just worked on his first early access title, was based in Korea, and thus in a different time zone than needed, and did not speak English. In meetings throughout May, Krafton's publishing team advanced the new company line.
That's pretty bad. That looks pretty bad on Crafton for sure.
Subnautica 2 was not ready. They tried to seize control over the launch, asserting that contrary to the clear terms of the EPA, the release date would be Crafton's call. They delayed decisions and delivered incomplete work product. On May 20th of 2025, Cleveland joined Kim, Crafton CEO, and some colleagues for lunch. Kim said that if Unknown Worlds released the game on his planned timeline, meaning Crafton would have to pay the earnout, it could be disastrous financially and hugely embarrassing for Crafton. Why would it be embarrassing for
I don't get this also. Okay, so this is also an absolutely red flag for everything, because it doesn't make sense. I'm not talking about Crafton, but I'm talking about general situations, okay? Crafton is a big company. This is almost the same thing that I talked about when Bungie got given money by Sony, and Sony said, hey, if you do not get us a return on investment of X in this time period, we're going to take over the company. When things like this are done, the people who look into this shit may not actually know what the fuck a Bungie is, or what the hell a Destiny 2 is supposed to be. Is it a puzzle game on mobile? Is my daughter gonna play it? They don't need to know this, because they just look at the money. They look at the money flows, they look on it historically, and then they make the decision. And that decision is always in the favor of, well, the person that these people work on. When Sony gave their support, financial support, to Bungie, they specifically looked at what Bungie can do, and they aimed higher, knowing that Bungie will never actually reach the goal. This is how these things work. The idea that fucking Crafton would not be capable of predicting this correctly, especially based on the numbers that we are currently given here, which would be minimum going in the, pretty much in the same direction, only like plus like what, maybe fucking 10% what the previous Subnautica 1 game did. There's no fucking way Crafton. Maybe they fucked up. Maybe they're idiots, but that typically does not happen like this. That typically does not happen like this. If all Subnautica 2 needed to do was sell the exact almost same sales in the first like fucking 2 months of its existence as Subnautica 1 did in its first 2 years, or first 1 year, I should say, almost. Bro! In this case, it's arguably less, even if you kind of do the math in some ways. I'm kind of doing it in my head. But it doesn't make sense. Either the people at Crafton were fucking stupid when they did this, or something here is amiss. It just doesn't make sense. This is not how these things work. This is not how these things happen. Listen, you can have idiots, you can have woke idiots, but you can't have these things actually happening, okay? People who do these sort of things are not in those positions because they're because they have a certain political ideology, okay? They're in those positions because they actually can do those things, because if they don't, they're gonna get fired because they fucked up. So, this is really, really this is sus. This does not make sense to me. This is something that needs a lot more context.
Crafton. If Kim actually said this, what? Them paying out a $250 million earnout to Unknown Worlds would be respectable. People would be like, oh my god, these are the greatest publishers ever. So it's like, okay, if this holds true, what? Anyway, Crafton later asserted that Kim never made those statements. Instead, Crafton claimed Kim's words had been, incorrectly interpreted by the translators, an issue that had not arisen in other translated meetings over almost 4 years. Yeah, it's like, incorrectly interpreted. Really? That's a big thing to incorrectly, translate to somebody. That is a huge mistake if that is true. A week later, Chief Global Publishing Officer, told Guild that if Unknown Worlds was going to release Subnautica 2 with Crafton, it had to be done his way or not at all. Was offended when Gil reminded him that the EPA preserved the release date decision for Unknown Worlds alone. It seems like Crafton is just completely just sidelining the entire planning and the contract.
So this is kind of interesting, because if they actually have if the fucking what do we call this, Yule, just to sound fancy, it's not a Yule, but who cares? If that actually gives them full authority over when it's released, these guys can release the fucking game. Krafton shouldn't be able to do dick shit about it. Because they legitimately don't. If Krafton wants to stop them from releasing the game right now, Krafton has to sue them. There is no other way that Krafton can do it. If the terms of the contract actually state that they have full ability to choose when on their terms when it gets released. So this also doesn't make sense. Maybe Krafton doesn't want to sue because, again, all this, a lot of this is just, she said, he said, and, just fighting for who gets the most internet karma. But, still, again, all of this is so sus.
Track that they had written. It's like, what are they doing? Shortly thereafter, Krafton demanded that Unknown Worlds delay the game until 2026, again claiming that Subnautica 2 was not ready. Krafton's obstructionist tactics intensified at May 27, 2025 milestone review meetings, a Krafton-mandated gatekeeping process for checking on games and developments. I wonder if that is the documents that they had leaked the other day. That seems to be the case here. I'm just guessing. At the meeting, Krafton announced that the game had to be delayed based on the reviews of its internal experts. The founders would later learn that the purported experts had little expertise to share. None had worked on successful early access games, and none had experience with games in Subnautica 2's genre.
What does that have to matter? The experts are just the experts can just evaluate how much it is done. This also seems like a stretch to, one, call these people experts, and then two, to discredit these people as experts. Oh boy.
For their part, the founders explained at the milestone review meeting why Krafton's view was wrong and why the planned 2025 release should proceed. They explained that playtest data, feedback from hundreds of community members who played the game for thousands of hours, man, I am jelly of you guys, unequivocally confirmed that the game was ready to go, and they expressed concern that taking longer to develop the game internally would risk losing the many benefits of open development, the most important factor in Unknown Worlds' successful track record. Again, it's their entire strategy to release games in early access and let the players help them build the game. It seems like
this strategy doesn't do shit any longer. That's kind of the problem, okay? They literally acquired the publisher, so they don't have to do this shit technically. So saying that now kind of feels cheap, though.
Krafton doesn't understand that for some reason. But why did they buy them then? A few days later, in a meeting with Kim, Gil reaffirmed a bunch of retracted stuff here. Then
the reason that Krafton bought them is because Krafton thought that they are going to make money. Krafton doesn't give a shit about anything else.
To the point here, Krafton takes its delayed tactics to another level, pulling all support for the month launch for the express purpose of frustrating the Earnout. In the face of Unknown Worlds' resolve, Krafton amplified its obstructionist agenda. It sent letters to the founders making a variety of unfounded claims about the game's readiness and the founders' activities, issued an internal stop working order, and pulled all of its resources from Subnautica 2. This orchestrated effort aimed to delay the game and thereby harm the Earnout. So this seems to be about the fact that Charlie was working on another film or something about a Christmas film, and that the others were working on other stuff on the side. And apparently this was all unfounded, but they started sending it to the founders from this.
Is this unfounded? I have not heard anything that discredits this so far. And I mean, if I was those guys, if I could discredit that, I would discredit that instantaneously, because it does not sound good that, oh, I was supposed to work on this game, but I want to work on my AI summer Santa fucking movie. Okay, this doesn't seem that great. Yeah, this is like the big thing. Is this discredited? Leave a timestamp below and comment if there's actually like proof to discrediting this or anything like that. Because this is kind of a big one for me.
Starts before we actually got to see it public. Krafton pulled the many corporate resources it had long committed to providing Unknown Worlds in support of the launch. For example, Krafton's marketing team had been set to support the game's release with over something in asset creation, that being trailers, influencer kits, and audio series, and something cover of PC Gamer. Krafton simply stopped responding to and paying the vendors, leaving Gil scrambling to inform anyone that he could that something. Okay, so they just stopped paying vendors. What? Krafton's localization team had been set to translate the game into 9 languages needed for Unknown Worlds' global audience. No longer. Krafton's analytics team had been set to provide backend services including analytics and server infrastructure. No longer. Krafton's policies team had been set to devise key policies such as terms of use and privacy. No longer. Krafton's legal team had been set to provide contract review services in advance of the launch. No longer. Indeed, one of Krafton's El Segundo publishing employees reported to Gil that Krafton headquarters told all Krafton teams to stop all creative tasks related to Subnautica 2. That is fucking insane. Really? The employee supervisor even demanded that he and his
Well, yeah, really. I mean, what did you expect, honestly? Crafton wants to stop the release of Subnautica 2, so they're obviously gonna fucking pull support from this shit. I mean, there's literally no other outcome for this. This was the most expected thing in the world. I mean, this is a 100% probability here we're talking about, okay? And typically the only things that are 100% true are debt and taxes, and I'm not sure about the debt part.
team cease communication with Unknown Worlds altogether. This just sounds extremely desperate on Crafton's part. Like, are they literally seriously just stopping everything? It's like, no real notice, nothing? I mean, you could
I mean, all of this does make perfect sense in business. I'm not gonna lie, this is... I'm not surprised about a single sentence here. This all makes perfect sense. This is how all big companies handle these things. This is not strange in the slightest.
see it as some form of notice given when they, alleged a bunch of stuff to the founders previously, but it's like, what? You just stop? Crafton's tactics were so egregious as to impair Unknown World's relationships with key industry partners. Perhaps most notably, the company lost several highly valuable promotional opportunities with something something when Crafton neglected.
Okay, we really need actual dates when this started and when they said that when all of this when is the release and when this started, okay? I really need to know the dates here because I think that matters a lot.
To respond to something someone's emails. Multiple Crafton employees suggested to Guild that the purpose of these actions was to diminish the earnout, and Crafton's head of global strategy and operations told Guild that pulling these resources was a permissible way for Crafton to avoid supporting the earnout. So they're trying to be strategic about this whole thing that they can't just break the contract, but they're pulling all the resources. If this were not enough, Crafton then took aim at harming Unknown Worlds' relationship with its fan community, and we all know what happened there. It seized control of unknownworlds.com and Subnautica.com and posted, without consulting the founders or obtaining their approval, a statement apologizing for Subnautica taking far longer than any of us ever intended, and making allegations about Cleveland and McGuire's alleged roles. And of course, we get a picture here in the document about, the announcement that Crafton made that started pulling the leaders in the mud or dragging them through the mud. The message threatened to cast a cloud of uncertainty over the game within the market and the user base. Posting this message without the knowledge or consent of anyone at Unknown Worlds violated multiple provisions of the EPA, including the founders' right to complete operational control over Unknown Worlds. Crafton was forced to take the message down and return control of the two websites. Around the same time, Crafton
that makes sense.
Escalated its intimidation campaign against the founders. In a June 10 letter to the founders, Crafton CEO made unfounded claims about Cleveland and McGuire's involvement with Unknown Worlds, and it falsely accused the founders of failing to fulfill their contractual responsibilities and violating their fiduciary duties. On June 18th, Crafton's head of global strategy and operations...
Fiduciary. We're getting all the terms incorrect here, boys. What a time to be alive.
Met with Gil and made Crafton's first attempt to get the founders to accept a lower earnout. So they were trying to get them to,
Fiduciary duties. Fiduciary.
Okay, we can maybe...
No, it's fiduciary. But why am I doubting myself? What this is the second time I doubt myself on these words. What the fuck? No, it's fiduciary duties.
Pay half or something. We don't know the amount, but we can't pay this much. Crafton's lowball pressure tactics would not have left the sellers anything close to what they deserved, and they did not allow them to share the earnout with the full team, so the founders declined. So they weren't actually allowed to share the full earnout, it seems, with the rest of the people working on the game, the rest of the devs. Oh, whoa, okay.
Wait. Let's get that again. That's big.
Pay this much. Crafton's lowball pressure tactics would not have left the sellers anything close to what they deserved, and they did not allow them to share the earnout with the full team, so the founders declined. So they weren't actually allowed to share the full earnout, it seems, with the rest of the people working on the game, the rest of the devs. Oh, whoa, okay.
Wait, but that's not good for the CEOs, because the CEOs should have known this when they signed us. So, okay, see, this is what I'm talking about. No. Let's listen to that again, because this is blatantly sus.
Duties. On June 18th, Crafton's head of global strategy and operations met with Gil and made Crafton's first attempt to get the founders to accept a lower earnout. So they were trying to get them to, okay, we can maybe pay half or something. We don't know the amount, but we can't pay this much. Crafton's lowball pressure tactics would not have left the sellers anything close to what they deserved, and they did not allow them to share the earnout with the full team, so the founders declined. So they weren't actually allowed to share the full earnout, it seems, with the rest of the people working on the game, the rest of the devs.
I get it. Okay. Wait, this is still bad. Okay, so let me explain what's happening here. they are not allowed to share more with the people. Okay, so yeah, but no, let me. Fuck. How do I explain this? Let's go again. How do I explain this properly?
Attempt to get the founders to accept a lower earnout. So they were trying to get them to, okay, we can maybe pay half or something. We don't know the amount, but we can't pay this much. Krafton's lowball pressure tactics would not have left the sellers anything close to what they deserved, and they did not allow them to share the earnout with the full team, so the founders declined. So there weren't actually.
Oh no! Wait, no. What does it mean, full team, though? And again, okay. So, but yeah, So, considering the founders, by their own words, original plan was to take the 90% of the 250 milli and then redistribute the wealth like good little socialists to the working classes under them, there's nothing stopping them from doing the same with this money. Okay? So, if it's not about the money for them, I mean... Interesting. Why would that be a problem? Now, the fact that it's lower than anticipated, yeah, that's true, but... Interesting.
Allowed to share the full earnout
Sus.
with the rest of the people working on the game, the rest of the devs. Oh, whoa, okay. By June 19th, Krafton again increased its effort to pressure the founders not to release the game. Krafton sent another letter taking issue with Unknown Worlds exercising its contractual right to control the launch date. The letter again made baseless allegations that the founders were violating contracts and breaching their fiduciary duties. And it threatened that to prevent the release of Subnautica 2, Krafton would take over operational control of Unknown Worlds despite the EPA's direct command.
Wait. Fucking the roller coaster of the century. What if Krafton is saying that the CEOs are breaching the fiduciary duties that they have against Krafton shareholders because it's not in the interest of the shareholders for the 250 million payout? Bro, that would be the craziest thing ever. Oh my lord.
To the contrary, Krafton returned to the
probably not happening. I'm just having fun here.
Negotiating table on June 26th, 2025. This time offering the amount that Krafton's models showed the earnout would be without the marketing and publishing support Krafton had pulled. Krafton acknowledged in this meeting that sales would be more successful and the earnout higher had Krafton provided the agreed upon marketing and publishing support for Subnautica 2. The founders again declined the offer because they wanted to get the full amount that they were promised. The founders' last interactions with Krafton leadership were in late June. On June 25, 2025, Krafton's head of corporate development told Gil that Krafton's plan was to remove the Unknown Worlds board and fire the founders. She warned Gil that the lawyers are ready to go. That is ominous as hell. 2 days later, on a call with Krafton's global head of strategy and operations, Gil made additional efforts to negotiate with hopes of reaching a mutually agreeable outcome and gaining Krafton's support. Among other things, Gil suggested that the founders would personally take less so that a larger portion of the earnout could go to Unknown Worlds' dedicated team. That's really sweet. Like, if this is true...
Oh, finally?
That is awesome. In response, Gil was told that this will be our last call. Nonetheless, even in the face of Krafton's extreme sandbagging and pressure tactics, Subnautica...
But again, it's just... I feel that they are... There's no way. I just 100% feel that they are using this as a shield. Oh, we want to give to our developers. Yeah, I can't. I just think that's such a shield. Every time the developers are mentioned, it's just a shield for someone.
To remain set for its 2025 release. Krafton's campaign had needlessly harmed the game, but it had not prevented the launch. Krafton was out of options. Now, with the launch date looming and its delay tactics having failed, Krafton took the nuclear option.
Wait, so is it launching?
It fired all 3 founders and delayed the game's launch until 2026. Here we go. On July...
Again, can they even do it? Because these things are insane. These things are so insane. Again, someone is lying so fucking big in all of this.
July 1, 2025, Krafton emailed each of the founders with the letters informing each that they were terminated effectively immediately. Before terminating the founders, Krafton also removed them from Unknown Worlds' board of directors without their knowledge. Indeed, Krafton did not consult with the founders before either their termination or their board removal, contrary to Krafton's express promise to consult in good faith before taking any action that would be reasonably be expected to materially...
This is not a breach of that. If Krafton is saying that they think the original CEOs are insane, that this is as good faith as it gets, or, taking any actions. This is not gonna hold water, okay? If Krafton says that they think the CEOs are insane, well, that kind of nullifies this. So this doesn't matter a lot. This is like, who cares? But it's again, it's the end of the suit, so the no one cares parts are gonna start showing up here.
decrease the earnout amount. It's like they forgot the promise or the contracts. In the termination letters, Steve Papoutsis, acting on behalf of Krafton, explained that each was fired because of their intention to proceed with a premature release of Subnautica 2. Through reference to subsections of the founders' employment agreements, the letters make clear that the founders were terminated without cause, despite the express terms of the EPA permitting only a for-cause termination. Again, like this thing, it seems to suggest that there was really no good cause for this, because they weren't, told that there was a good reason for this, only that, yeah, we're going to delay the game, but you gave full rights to Unknown Worlds that they would decide when the release date actually was supposed to be. Specifically, the termination letters provide that Krafton's payment.
Yeah, okay. Listen. I want to hear the other side. I want to hear the fucking other side, because someone is lying. Someone's lying big. And again, I cannot tell who is... Again, both sides seem currently pretty fucking bad. I'm not gonna lie. It's just both sides seem ass. Oh boy. Well, we're gonna see how this goes. Anyway, wow, what an absolute banger of the situation. That was Mr. Holtzen, 10 out of 10. Bye.